Welcome to Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast. Your host, Juan Pablo Delgado, who is a business owner, co-founder of RTB Latinx and Financial Pro, will take you with business owners, professionals, and people who are in the hustle. Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast es un espacio para cotorrear sobre negocios, emprendimiento, la vida misma y el billete. Bienvenidos. Tomas Gomez, founder of the Inc. Framework. As an industrial and systems engineer, Tomas Gomez began his career in the aerospace and automotive industries, manufacturing electro-mechanical and turbo systems. Then moved into design and development, first modeling and implementing new manufacturing assembly lines based on Lean Six Sigma methodologies. He then transitioned into new product development and innovation programs, working with consumer products. After 20 years working at Fortune 500 corporations and over 500 new products launched, Tomas decided to pursue his own business ventures. The moment I left corporate America and started my own business, I knew I had to share what I had learned with my fellow struggling managers and entrepreneurs, he said. And so, he created the Inc. Framework, a platform for business owners and managers to learn from each other. At theincframework.com, Tomas offers a free online business that can help increase the opportunities for success for small businesses. He says, "We are wearing 15 different hats and have limited resources to compete against multi-million-dollar corporations. We don't have time to reinvent the wheel. Let's do what works and adjust our recipe."
Tomas shared 8 key points on how a business can manage today's adversity, adapt to our new normal, and thrive in 2021. The best advice for successful entrepreneurs to overcome the pandemic. And believe me, this is a really golden nugget. So I decided to divide the podcast interview in 2 parts. So let's jump on the first part of the interview with Tomas Gomez. Tomas Gomez, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Juan Pablo. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. And Tomas, please in a few minutes tell our community a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your, background.
Sure. My background is a diverse one. I started in the aerospace and automotive industries. I am an industrial and systems engineer. I graduated from Tec de Monterrey, which I understand is your university as well. Am I right, Juan Pablo?
Yes, Tomas, you are right. Okay. I have an MBA, right, from our alma mater.
Exactly. Great school. So anyway, I started my career, as I said, aerospace and automotive. And what I did is design electromechanical turbo systems. And then moved into design and development, and I was modeling and implementing new manufacturing assembly lines, and this all based on Lean Six Sigma methodologies. I was trained by the aerospace industry to go into a manufacturing system, a production system, and redefine what it is based on what they're struggling with. So I did that for many years. And then I went into consumer products. What that means is I started now the design and development of new products from ideation, which means from an idea to market launch. And I did that for 10 years. I did, I think, about 200 new products a year, and I did that for 10 years. So that's when all of this is related when you're creating a new product and you take it from an idea to a market. It's related to how you build the business as well. So all of this knowledge about how to define the idea, make sure it's going to work, take it through the proper steps until you actually launch it into the market. All of those steps, all of that methodology, all of the team involved, everyone that has to participate in that idea in order to be successful at the end, allowed me to understand how the whole process works. And that's why I started working on my own methodology to create this new ideas into market. And that then I translated it into business opportunities, and I tried this method there. And that's how I realized that I had a really good formula to understand the business as a overall, understand the key aspects of it, and then consider that to build a successful business. And that's how I got to this point.
Tell me about the time that you realized you wanted to be an entrepreneur and you wanted to have your company.
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I know, and I talk to a lot of people. I work for corporate America, and I work with the biggest companies in the world in their own industries, in the U.S., U.S. based, and in Germany. And after a 20-year career, I realized that, I was becoming a corporate executive, and but I've been always following guidelines, and I was always following a playbook from these big corporations. And I just wanted to do something more meaningful, to be honest with you. I just wanted to, I had a choice at that point. Either you continue your career as an executive, which you have, of course, security, stability, and everything that we hope for. And the other side is a part of us that want to create something that, as I said, if I continue on this road, I'm going to, retire, play golf, and have a steady paycheck. And the other side, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm at that point in which if I'm going to do something on my own, if I want to try something, this is the moment. And I can tell you that there's never the right moment, but fortunately for me, I was able to decide. And sometimes people have to jump into entrepreneurship because, you're out of your job. Something happened, the company closed, you have to make a change. Someone inherited you a business that, a family relies on. But those are, those circumstances in which you have to make that decision. But if you have to decide this by yourself without that pressure, and you have to say, should I jump ship and try this? That's a different story. And I did. I took the leap of faith. I jumped out, and here I am. I hope still that I made the right decision. Sometimes, of course, everyone question ourselves. Am I right? Should I? Oh man,
you are so right. Exactly, and it's amazing, and I can relate with your story because I was working for a big corporate pharmaceutical industry, and then I just quick and jump to start from scratch my own business. So I can relate it. And let me tell you that it's super nice. It's super good to do that. And so Tomas, tell us about your business and how and why did you pick your industry?
Okay. Well, first of all, what I did is I started my own company. And what I tried to do at the beginning was to assist companies in creating new product development programs. So if you have an idea, I can help you carry it out, and I will explain how to do that and just make sure that it's going to be or increase your chances of success. So that was my original intention. But when I was in that transition, my brother-in-law has a medical business, and it's a stem cell related business, is serving the U.S., a joint venture with a U.S. company, and we were treating patients. He was treating patients in Mexico. So he asked me for help. So I said, sure. Of course. This can be my first experience now. Just imagine coming from aerospace, and automotive and going into the medical field, which you are related to. It's quite a challenge, but I already took the the step out. So I said, sure, let us try. I mean, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. I can come back to what I was doing in the industry that I was serving. So we started that approach, and I started creating this company based on the points and the methodology that I told you about. So I started implementing each of the areas, and by the time we were growing, this is a very interesting story. We had a visit from a so-called celebrity, and this person liked what we were doing. They were starting to create a new company, a startup, and we got into a relationship. We had a partnership there, and we created that, and now the company is called Fountain Life, and it's about the main goal really is for humans to live up to 120 years in 5 to 10 years from today.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, exactly. And so the partners, the founders is Tony Robbins. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tony Robbins. And,
absolutely.
Okay, and Peter Diamandis, also a futurist, great guy, medical degree from MIT and engineering degree from MIT, medical degree from Harvard. Very, very smart people. So we're actually working on that project. So that's the first time that I implemented the whole methodology in one business venture, and this is what came up. So I'm super proud of being part of that equation, and it's moving forward. It's a startup. You will hear about it, I'm sure, in the near future. But yeah, we're super excited. So that's how this whole thing came to life.
Wow, sounds amazing. And so I'm curious about how do you work to help entrepreneurs, and what are the resources available to small business owners?
Well, there are many resources on the internet, and the reason why I know this is because I have done a lot of research. And the reason why I've done a lot of research is because I tried to create a website, and I did, for small business owners, entrepreneurs, to be able to go and look for a source of information to be able to learn. And it has two areas. One, I created this methodology as a business course, and it's free, of course. It's available for everyone. And the other side is that yeah, sure. As like yourself, Juan Pablo, I interview successful entrepreneurs, and we want to learn from their stories. And every successful entrepreneur also have many failures in their lives. So we want to hear the good and the bad side.
Exactly.
And exactly. So that's what we're doing, and we started 2 months ago, and we already have about 8 interviews. It's going super interesting. I mean, how this goes, but my point is, I looked into the internet to see what was available exactly for small business owners, and to try to see, what I can offer, that is a bit different, or if there's something that is not there. I found many courses online. I mean, there's a course about everything. I mean, there's trainings, there's free, some of them are not. There's a lot of resources, but the point here is that they tackle specific points at a time. I mean, they talk about one thing, and then if you want to know about a different thing, then you have to look for that and you find it. But here's the thing. What I've learned through all my experience from those 20 years in corporate America is that you have 8 key areas that you need to consider. So if you look in the internet, I haven't found someone that tells you exactly what those 8 key areas are. I mean, you can find the finance side, the marketing side, sales side, product development side. I mean, each one has their own buckets, but you cannot find a complete, method to. If you're a business owner, as you know, Juan Pablo, you have to do everything in your company. You have to think about everything. I mean, you don't have the luxury that corporate America has, though. You have a team for every single area. You have a CEO, and then you have, the finance guy, the human resources. I mean, if you're a business owner, you have to do everything. So how about someone that can tell you, you know what, these 8 key areas are going to make sure that the company is looked at from a 360-degree standpoint, meaning don't leave anything out, because small business owners focus really, and you might have different experiences, but in my experience, a business owner will focus on his product or service, and everything will actually orbits around that. It's about what I offer, and then everything else is around that. And what I'm saying is, your product or service is a consequence, is a result of something you're really good at. So let's look at what that is, and then think about everything else surrounding your product, because you can have an excellent product, and I've seen this 1,000 times. You can have an excellent idea, an excellent product, it fails miserably. Nobody wants it. And you say, what the hell happened? Well, you have to consider a lot more than what just the product and your service. So that's my point, Juan Farlow, that to bring business owners to think in terms of a system, of overall system of their company, and not just focused on their product and service.
Sounds very interesting. And also, I would like to know a little more about the the areas that you were talking about, the methodology.
So yes, there are 8 key areas. The business, the online business is, course, it's called the 8 key areas. But I did a very light version of it, a conceptual version of it, and I call them 8 pieces of advice. So the first advice is to create alignment. And what that means is that everyone in your organization or company or business needs to know exactly why the company exists and what it's trying to accomplish. And you might say, everybody in my company and my staff knows that. Well, let's put that to test. You need to ask 3 questions, okay? Ask yourself, and you answer, Juan Pablo, answer these questions yourself. And here they are. First one. What does your business do? Meaning, what is the reason for its existence? Number 2, what is your business really good at? What does your business do best? The third question, what are the weaknesses? What could you do better? Now, if you answer, Juan Pablo, yourself, those 3 questions, and you ask these 3 questions to anyone from your staff, what do you think or estimate it will be the comparison between those answers?
Well, everybody's thinking or hoping that you are in the same page, right?
Exactly. And we all do. And you know what? The worst part of it, Juan Pablo, is that we assume that we are. And so if you do this exercise, ask these 3 questions, answer them yourself, write them down, and then ask each one of your team members or the ones you want, to participate in this exercise, and see what the responses are. And I assure you that they're going to be different. Now, the question is, how much different? If they're all over the place, you have a problem. You need to align those efforts. Why? Because I'm not sure if you have heard, being an engineer, and I apologize, but in physics, there is a term that's called the sum of force vectors. What that means is that if you have, in simple terms, one person pushing in one direction, let's call this like your clock. If you're pushing towards 12 o'clock and you have people pushing towards 3 o'clock or 11 o'clock, the result of all those forces pushing in those directions are going to be a smaller force going in a direction that not precisely you, the owner, the leader, are going for. Now, if you align all those forces, each force will add to the other one, so the speed and force in which you're going to walk toward your goal is going to be multiplied. So that's why it's so important that you ask these 3 questions and make sure that everybody has the same answer or understand the same answer. Now, here's the other question. If you and your team are aligned you're going in the same direction. You know that for sure. You did the exercise. Is that the direction you should be going? And the answer is, we don't know that. So how do we find out? You have to ask your customers. So there are also 3 questions for your customers, which are different.
Right.
The first one is, why did you choose us? The second one, why will you come to see us again? And the third one is, and the most important, describe what would make your visit a spectacular experience. Meaning, have your customers define what would be a spectacular experience. They like you, they go and visit you, they buy from you, that's fine. But what would make that experience spectacular? If they describe that experience, then you go and compare that answer with the first one you ask yourself. What does your business do? What is the reason of its existence? So you need to aim towards your customer's spectacular experience in order to have full alignment. And that's when the magic starts.
And I like it. Please continue.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So advice number 2. I call it a team commitment, like Spartans from the movie 300. I mean, that movie was fascinating to me because of how, that group of people support each other until the end and with the greatest force you can say. Now, what the success of that team is that each of them knew exactly what we were trying to accomplish, going back to the advice number 1. But in a business, you need to answer 5 basic questions to any employee. They need to understand the following. Okay, here we go. And every employee needs to know the following. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. Number 2, how do I know if I'm doing it right? Number 3, who else works in this company and what did they do? Number 4, do I have a future here? I mean, how do I get promoted? How do I get a raise? And number 5, is the company doing okay? Is my job safe? If everyone knows the answers to that question specifically, then you're not going to go back to your office and then find someone doing something else that they're not supposed to be doing, or something didn't happen because, one thought that, the other one was going to do it, but I was supposed to be doing it. And we waste so much time as leaders of our businesses or our areas of work just clarifying. I mean, how much time do you spend with your guys clarifying, reminding them, hey, remember we talked about this? Remember we said that? Remember what we said at the meeting? Remember, So how about we clarify all that? And the way to do that is through 5 different pieces of information. The first one is have a company mission statement. The second one, have an org chart. Clearly define the roles and responsibilities. Number 3, a job description for each employee.
Right.
Number 4, a frequent employee evaluation where you're going to specify what does success mean for each one of them. If you accomplish this, then you are successful. If you do not, then you are not. Now, the reason why you did not accomplish that, goal maybe is lack of training. You're not trained to do that, of course. You don't have the right tools. I mean, there's many reasons why, but you need to understand that he needs to understand what he's trying to accomplish and then ask yourself what he needs in order to accomplish that. And the 5th is an incentive program, meaning the proper rewards. Now, it is very interesting because this whole thing has its own strategies. A lot of people has bonuses in their companies. They have reward systems.
Right.
But guess what happens? The number one complaint that I've heard from employees is the following. Hey, I'm doing all the work. And they're giving us a bonus for everyone, the same for everyone. And they don't feel that's just. They don't think that's fair. Therefore, I'm not going to put as much effort. So it needs to be a combination between rewarding individually and rewarding as a group to create, that team environment. So it has its own strategies, and that's what I covered in more detail, of course, on the course. But that's the second advice. That's the second advice. Any questions on that one, Juan Pablo?
No, so far so good. I mean, that's super deep, and
Okay.
exactly. And before you continue, how
Sure.
the community can get in touch with you or your company? What's the best way to do that? Or you mentioned your website.
Yeah, the website is called The Inc. Framework. And the Inc. part is not Inc. as like the one you write with. Is the Inc. as incorporated. So INC. So it's theincframework.com. And that's where they can find my personal information as well. So they can contact me directly. Or the course, the business course,
Right.
Which is free. And they can find the articles and the business cases in an area that's in a section that is called Learning from Each Other. And also, I would like to take the opportunity, Juan Pablo, to invite, if you have a success story, you can share it with us. And please do, because everybody else can learn from it. And this is a time to support each other. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've been hit in all sides of our lives, personal, professional, in our business, relatives, everything. So it's time to support each other. So as much as we share, our stories, is going to be better for everyone, because there's a lot of answers. The answers are in the people that are doing the work. The answers are not in the teachers, in the courses, in all that. Really the answer is on experiences from other people. If you have an interesting conversation with someone that is doing something similar to you, you're going to learn a whole lot than having an MBA or having any course that you will like.
Absolutely.
Why? Because that's on-hands experience. That's something you can do tomorrow. You don't need to read a 300-page book and then try to interpret. If someone already did it, it gives you that sense of confidence. Oh, this can be done. This is much better. We can do that. So that's why I encourage everyone to try to share their experiences, because that's the best way to get ahead of what we're living today.
I love it, and I 100% agree with you. And Tomas, you seem very confident right now. Was that always the case?
No, of course not. I'm confident because those 20 years meant a lot of failures. I made a lot of mistakes, Juan Pablo,
Right.
and some of them cost me my job. And let me tell you one quick story.
Sure.
I was designing manufacturing systems, continuous improvement efforts, and all that. So in my arrogance, I thought I was, really good at this. So I did and designed it, a whole manufacturing system, a new one, completely new. So I met with, fellow engineers. We created this amazing, and we invested, like $300,000 in this whole system. Now, we went back to the manufacturing production floor, and we said, presented to the whole group that was working there, this is the new way that we're going to do things. Here it is, and this is why this is awesome, and this is great, and, so we presented the whole thing. Everybody was looking and saying, okay, sure. So we started in implementing this whole thing, installing the whole new system, and guess what? Didn't work. Why? Not because the system didn't work and it was designed, because I never involved the people that was going to use it in the process. And they didn't take ownership. So that was a major mistake. A major mistake. If you want to do something new, if you want to do something exciting, and your idea is for someone else to use it, make them part of the conversation, make them part of the product, make them part of it. Because if they part of it, if they have a suggestion and you consider it, they will feel that the idea is theirs too, and they will make it work. They will do there's the ego area. I mean, if I was part of it, this better works. That's what you need in order to succeed. And a lot of people just want other people to do what you told them. And the reality is that it's not. I had to study, I started my master's degree in psychology and organizational development at some point. I was not able to finish, but I did another 2-year degree in clinical psychology last year to understand the human, aspect of this whole thing. because that's the most important. We're working with people. So as I say, if you don't consider them, they're not going to support your idea, but if they're part of it, they will. So that's one of those $1 million mistakes that I made in my life, and that's what I had to, keep studying the fact that, if you're dealing with humans, you better understand how that works. So I encourage everyone that is leading a company or you have your own business, read a book or two about psychology, just to get to know that there are different personalities, very different ways of communication. You cannot have a one recipe for everyone. You have to talk to each of your employees, each of your staff members individually. They have their own needs. They have their own ways of learning. So try to make it an individual effort, and that will make a huge difference.
I love it. And thank you for sharing. That was amazing. And if the old you could see the new you, if the old Tomas could see the new Tomas right now, what would be your advice?
I mean, if he sees what I'm doing right now, he wouldn't give me an advice. He would say, "Hey, what the hell? Where are you, man? How do you get there?" He will have questions for me. But the old me, the old me would say, you know what? First of all, having a degree and from a good school and having this knowledge is not going to make you successful. Is going to be far from that. What is going to make you successful is about human relationships, how to learn to work with others, to respect their opinions. So, that arrogance of you because you think you're on the top of the world, just, save the pain and just go and be more humble and understand that the others you work with, those are going to be the keys to your success. It's not going to be what you do. What can you do for others and what others can do for you? So that would be, my number one piece of advice.
Well, I love it, and thank you for sharing. I think that's very valuable.
I hope you enjoyed this interview, and we're only on advice number 2 of 8, so be ready to hear the second part of the podcast with Tomas Gomez, and please don't forget to share. Thank you for my sponsor RTB Financial Group in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, California. Hasta la próxima.